Gentlemen and ladies, welcome to the second episode of the Fruitfully Honest podcast with your host, Robert Jones. And,
Jack Ariselli, what's up, guys?
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about religion today. What do you believe? What do you think about evolution? That is what we're going to be talking about today. Get them started, Jack.
All right. So, religion for me has been always a powerful topic because it's so debatable for everybody. So, the first thing I want to talk about is just evolution in general. Um, do you think it has merit? Do you personally think it has merit?
You personally, you asked me, I'm a Christian, but I think that it's very well possible that the man upstairs created these certain beings and then they evolved over time into what he wanted them to be. But that's what I believe.
That's what I was going to talk about next. Is somehow having a middle ground. Um, Somehow a higher power creating something that evolved into humans. I don't necessarily think this higher power had to create humans themselves directly. Um, I'm not necessarily a Christian. I don't really identify with any certain religion, but I believe in some sort of a higher power. So for me, it's super open. Um, do you think creationism has changed at all in the past hundred
Jack,
years?
could you tell me exactly what creationism is? Because I honestly,
Well, creationism, in my terms, this might be incorrect, but from what I know, and I kind of study religion quite a bit, is just the theory that some sort of a higher power or intelligent being created the universe and the things in it.
well, I just typed in the definition, and it says the belief that the universe and living organisms originates from the specific acts of a divine creator. So what that's basically saying that there's one creator and he created all this natural uh,
Right.
process of evolution.
Yeah, that was pretty close there.
So you were pretty close.
um, so yeah, do you think creationism has changed at all in terms of um, the base kind of belief? Do you think somehow that middle ground that you believe in has been around for a long time, or do you think it's kind of new?
I'm going to say that it's probably kind of new because I remember from being in previous history classes in the Catholic faith, many people did not believe certain things about the world being round and that these birds on this Galapagos island, like they were always like that, and just because they had different beaks that they were different. So I kind of believe that like it hasn't been um, changed over the years.
Yeah, I think it's relatively new, just because nowadays people are starting to agree with evolution more.
Yeah.
I can understand how it's easy to oppose evolution when you're in the majority,
Yeah.
but nowadays people who oppose it like completely are in the minority now.
Yeah.
I think even devout Christians look at evolution in some sort of a sense as somewhat like you do, maybe even a little less liberally. Not, you know what I mean. So, um, what I kind of want to talk about next is: do you think we really have religious freedom in the United States? Not necessarily in terms of the law, but just with our people around us.
Well, in recent news, there's been a lot of stuff going on as far as Muslims and radical Islam, people coming into the country illegally. Um, some people are coming in as terrorists. So I think that people's religious freedom is kind of going to be tested in these next couple of years. Um, when you got certain candidates saying that, well, we want to ban um, all Muslims from entering the country temporarily, um, it's kind of it's kind of being tested.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I recorded like a mini episode. I don't know if we're going to use it or not for this podcast, but I basically did like a 15-minute rant on this whole Trump situation with banning Muslims, and I think as Americans we've kind of failed to, oh, I don't know, in a way to accept everyone else.
Yeah, and see the thing is, what is it? The Constitution that says the first right of the
Oh.
Bill of Rights or something. It says
Right.
that you have freedom of like religion,
Freedom-
speech,
right.
that kind of stuff. So that kind of is going against the Constitution.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I think we do have freedom of religion in the sense that you can't be arrested for what you believe,
Yeah,
but do we have leaders of this country trying to say we don't want people here that are like that? So that's almost the same thing. That's kind of a gray area.
yeah.
Do you think it's just the Muslims that are looked at like that, or do you think there's Buddhists and Hindus?
I think it is mostly the Muslims who are looked at in a bad light because of these recent terrorist attacks in America and in Paris. There really haven't been any terrorist attacks coming from Hindu people or Buddhists. So
Right. My only issue is that people look at this is just America's image of Islam is just violence. It's no
Yeah.
longer a normal religion. It's a gateway to violence,
Yeah.
which is really unfair for the 99.7% that
of the group.
right. Because what I've always believed is that these radicals, people in the Islamic State, really don't represent what the Quran stands for. Is in this, it's the same for Christians. There are radical Christians. I
Yeah.
don't know if have you heard of the Westboro Baptist Church?
Yes, I have.
There's some crazy people in
Yeah,
there.
there's some crazy stuff.
So I think there's radicals for every religion, and there was even a story out of Nepal. There was a Buddhist monk, so you would think this guy's going to be one of the most peaceful people. I don't know the exact story. I think he made a statement saying he wanted all Muslims out of Nepal.
Yeah.
And I think he said he wanted to kill them or did kill somebody. I don't know the exact story. But I know he was a Buddhist monk, which is completely against stereotypes.
Against what-
Right.
So that's a pretty big problem where you have certain places on the planet where you're able to express your religious freedom and places that you cannot. Like for example, the Middle East, most of those countries they do not allow religious freedom.
Right.
So
You're either what the government says or,
Yeah.
you know. I think, my personal opinion, I don't think we necessarily have religious freedom anymore just because of the persecution people receive.
Yeah.
Something a lot of people don't really know about me is that about a year ago, up until about 6 months ago, so whatever, this past year, the first 6 months of that, I was a Muslim. I converted, and I was kind of in the closet, if you will. I didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But I did one day, and that was a bad decision.
Where were you at when you talked about it?
Well, I posted on Twitter,
Oh,
and then
that's
um,
not advice.
no, no, it's not.
I try
but-
I try not to talk about religion or politics on social
Yeah, yeah, it only ends up badly. Well, surprisingly, no one said anything on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I heard a lot of really ignorant comments at school, not necessarily that hurt my feelings, but it was just like, okay, this is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I was at lunch one time, and a guy came up to me and said, "So, do you have to like pray to Mecca in the middle of class? Are you going to get on the ground?" And I was like, "Okay, first of all, not really. No, I'm not going to do that." I mean, I was called so many different names that pertain to these stereotypes.
Yeah.
They called me a jihadist. They called me a member of ISIS. My dad saw it on social media and sat me down, and he was like, "I don't like this path you're going down." I think he legitimately thought I was going to go join ISIS.
No.
And that was a little bit disheartening and unsettling to think that this view of Islam has been warped so badly that something as simple as that is looked at as something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, to wrap up the show, we just need to realize that everybody has their beliefs. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs. Whether you think it's right or wrong, you should always try to be accepting of their beliefs. It is bad, though, when their beliefs get out of hand. And what I mean by that is these groups like ISIS, who basically scare people,
or these people who use religion and use what their holy books say to hurt other people.
Yeah.
I think religion is about values.
Yeah.
I think atheists that are looked at horribly, it's unfair to them. I
Yeah.
think we don't get morality from religion. I think we get morality from our brains.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of the thing I really don't like about a lot of Christians is they like to use certain parts of the Bible to their advantage. Like I hear older people tell me, "Oh, well, the Bible says you're supposed to respect your parents," but then after that verse in the Bible, it also says you were supposed to respect your kids too. But nobody wants to ever say that.
Oh no, they can cherry pick the Bible all day.
So, ladies and gentlemen, until next episode, we wish you love, peace, and soul.
See you later, guys.